Hello and welcome to How to Learn a Language. Yeah, the name kind of says it all. I'm Lindsay from Lindsay Does Languages, and I'm here to help you learn languages better, any language, any level. On this podcast, you'll get jargon-free linguistics insights to level up your fluency, practical mindset tips to tackle those inevitable learning wobbles, personal language diaries where I share my own progress and honest experiences, and an exclusive peek behind the scenes of language life. My coaching program that helps people speak fearlessly and intuitively by taking control of your learning without pressure or one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter methods. If you're ready to break free from perfectionism and finally start speaking the language you want, you're in the right place. Want to get started right away? Head to lindsaydoeslanguages.com/free video for your on-demand video training. All right, let's dive in. In today's episode, we are talking about Duolingo. In particular, why I quit Duolingo all the time and why I always restart. So, right now, I am refreshing some Chinese, and after trying out a few apps, first of all, really shocking how bad some apps are with certain languages. It's so disappointing because when you get an app that has lots of languages, you think, brilliant, this one app will cover a lot of needs for me down the line. And then when you know some of a language and you just want to refresh it and you go into the app and you see, oh, wait, this is full of mistakes. Really disappointing. I'm not here to name and shame. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I was disappointed. Sometimes with errors, sometimes with kind of getting bored early on, because I know a bit already. I just need to sort of pick up where I left off, so to speak. So I found Duolingo to be the best free option out there for me right now. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stick with it, I'm going to have a mega streak, or that it is my favorite app of all time. So I just wanted to talk about that because I feel like it either has to be, it's a bit Marmite, right? Duolingo. Like, it's almost as if as a language learner, you are expected to either be obsessed with Duolingo and have the plushies and whatever at home, or you hate it and you kind of turn your nose up at it and think, oh, I'm a proper learner, I don't use Duolingo. But that isn't right either. So I want to talk a bit about my experience right now, kind of my thoughts on the current state of Duolingo and, just share that with you. So first of all then, why do I quit? Why do I come back? Those little owl, his pressure tactics, they don't work on me. In fact, I kind of want to rebel against it. When the little owl tells me to set a streak or tells me to come back, I'll really want to ignore him. It makes me want to not come back. Now, I have notifications switched off, but sometimes I quit because I get tired of the in-app ads to upgrade. Even though they're quite cute, I don't like that implication that I could have been doing more, that I should be doing more. And that kind of FOMO doesn't make me feel good. I'm doing what I'm doing enough, and I'm in charge. And every now and then I just need to quit. I just need to take a break to just remind myself of that. Second thing is that it's only useful for me at certain stages. So with Duolingo, because it teaches you the idea of a very sort of fully rounded level, whatever that level may be. I know we're not talking like, oh, Duolingo doesn't get you fluent. Like, yeah, it doesn't on its own. Spoiler alert, nothing will. You will need a combination of things. But because it kind of is aiming for that fuller rounded level, it's not the best option at all if you're only learning for travel or you just need something specific in a language. You Talk, Drops, Memrise, even Google Translate, all better options than Duolingo if you have a specific idea of what you're after right now. But when I want to learn in the background, or if I want to just get better slowly or just refresh a language, it really works for me. And that is when I tend to use it. So I tend to kind of quit when I'm going out of a phase with a language and then come back, maybe for that language or maybe for another language when I want to renew it. And I need that accountability of the streak or of the idea of it being sort of short and easy and daily that can just help to get me back into the swing of things. So it's not something that is useful for me for every stage in every language, which is why I don't use it all the time. And then We need to talk as well about this shift from hearts to energy. This may be, right now at least, one of the worst changes ever that I've seen with Duolingo. I don't like it. Now, I wasn't a huge proponent of the hearts. I get why they existed because they're a business. They need people to pay to keep going. But the hearts kind of imply that you make mistakes and then you don't get to do more, right? So it's like a punishment for making mistakes in a way. So that wasn't a perfect system. Like I say, I get why it existed. They need people that, they can't just have everyone using unlimited Duolingo for free. It's a business. And so there was a need for something else, for some other way. But right now, this energy thing is really unappealing to me, to want to use Duolingo. I can just do like one lesson a day and then I feel like, okay, that's good, I'm done. I used to love doing a sentence, then writing it out, then clicking continue. But now it feels like I'm under a time pressure because sitting on that, right? I've done the sentence and now I'm just going to sit and write it out and it's going to be a lovely, slow exercise. That's going to kind of start to sap down the energy, right? Oh, boo, we don't want that. So I quite like that this means I don't feel obliged to sit and binge lots of lessons in one go because, I've got other language goals. I've got other things I want to do in my life. So it works to have something really small for me. But if I was after more, if I was at a point where I want more time on Duolingo each day, then this absolutely would get me thinking about upgrading my subscription. So when I say it's one of the worst changes ever, in terms of the business model, it's probably a really good change because it does get people thinking, oh, maybe I should upgrade, right? And the other thing that I want to sort of talk about on Duolingo, this is basically a bit of a Duolingo state of the Duolingo in 2026 sort of piece. This idea that Duolingo isn't enough, right? When it's so popular, it's really easy to hate on Duolingo, but it's just not all a bad thing. So I want to touch on some of those possible critiques and kind of counter them and then say, why I always return. One possible critique that people might have of Duolingo, it makes people think they can do more than they actually can. Is that really a bad thing? Surely it's a good thing to instill confidence. I get where people are coming from with this critique. I get this idea of like, oh, people think they're B2 in French just because Duolingo, they've got a 1,000-day streak on Duolingo. Like, I don't think that many people think that. Plus, it means that it gets people through the door of language learning who maybe never would have if it had meant buying a full-on course, So anything that is open and accessible and encourages language learning on a global scale is amazing to me, right? Like, that is good. We need those things in the world. Another possible critique that people have a lot, it doesn't get you fluent. We've touched on this. Duolingo is just a piece of the puzzle. It is not the whole picture. Its job isn't to get you fluent. Its job is to help you build a language learning habit. Duolingo does not care if you get fluent, right? They want you to keep paying that subscription. They want you to still feel like there's more to learn. That benefits them. So their purpose really is to help you build a language learning habit. Your job is to then figure out what to add in for you to get fluent. But if that's overwhelming, then that's my job, working with you. That's what Language Life is all about. That's what, working together, even just with a solo self-study course that I have available that can help you focus on improving one thing, like Vibrant Vocab, helping you get better at vocab, for example. If it feels overwhelming, the idea of trying to decide what to do next, what do you do when you finish Duolingo? What do you do when Duolingo no longer feels like enough? That's when you can come to me. Just send me an email, tell me where you're at, we can talk and I'll tell you the best option. Next possible critique, it skips grammar, right? I understand this one. So again, this is okay because it's a piece of the puzzle. You can find the grammar explanations to fill in those gaps. And that nowadays does not mean that you need to go out and buy a full-on chunky grammar book with all the jargon, right? You can simply ask AI, I think if you have the Duolingo like Super or Max or whatever, you can ask it to explain. Maybe they're bringing that to free. I think I just saw the other day too. Maybe by the time you hear this, it will already exist. But you can ask AI. You can Google, if you're like, I can tell from the English sentence that this is testing me on present tense, or this is testing me on past tense. Or it's this word though. What does this word mean? This one keeps coming up. Let me ask Google, right? You can easily find those grammar explanations to fill in those gaps. Finally, another big critique, not enough speaking practice. Let me tell you, this is not a Duolingo problem. 9 out of 10, rough estimate, but probably highly accurate estimate, 9 out of 10 learners don't get enough speaking practice, myself included, unless I intentionally do so. So this is not Duolingo's fault explicitly. We need to take responsibility for our progress. We cannot rely on one app to give us all of the things, right, really easily in one easy place. No, we can't rely on that. We need to take that responsibility and decide, you know what, I'm not getting enough speaking practice. I need to find more ways to speak. You know what, I'm not getting enough grammar explanation. I need to find more grammar. And this is why I do the work that I do. This is real supplementary to using something like Duolingo in understanding more about how we learn languages, learning more about yourself and understanding your own preferences and ways of being, so that we can make sure that you're learning in the best way for you, right? And you're using something like Duolingo in the best way for you. Like, that's what it's all about for me. So with all of that said, why do I return? Why do I restart Duolingo again and again? Well, it's free, it's easy, and surprise, surprise, it's fun, flexible, and functional when used right. For me, it's all of those things. And that makes it such an accessible, easy to use, easy to return to tool when I just need to restart something, or when I want to just dip into a language with zero pressure. It's there. In fact, I'm kind of annoyed if I want to learn a language and it's not on Duolingo, because it's going to be like a start point. It's going to be something that you can have in your arsenal. And when it's not there, it's a bit of a bummer. So they're my thoughts on Duolingo right now as it stands, 2026. And I'm curious because I feel like everyone has a Duolingo opinion. So if this has sparked something for you, I'd love to hear about it. You can email me at lindsay@doeslanguages.com or share this episode with a friend who's working through something similar. Thank you so much for listening to How to Learn a Language. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you're ready to take your language learning to the next level and speak with confidence without the pressure or perfectionism, then check out Language Life. You can find out all the details and join at lindsaydoeslanguages.com/LL. And if you want the first free step today, head to lindsaydoeslanguages.com/free video to get started with a fresh way to learn languages. Until next time, stay fearless, stay curious, so you can learn languages your way.